We'd now like to welcome to the stage Dr. Bruce Jarrell, President of the University of Maryland, Baltimore.
Since you just introduced me, maybe you should come out from behind the curtain and introduce yourself, announcer.
Thank you, Dr. Jarrell. My name is Aisha. I'm here to give artificial intelligence a human face and voice. Just let me know how I can help.
We thought we'd have a little fun today. Thank you for joining this 2024 State of the University. This is Aisha. She'll be with us for about 10 minutes, so let's get started. Aisha, what do you know about the University of Maryland, Baltimore?
UMB is renowned for its professional schools and graduate programs. There are 97 degree and certificate programs, 6,667 students, 7,411 employees.
Okay, that's certainly all true, Aisha, but what makes UMB great?
Dr. Jarrell, you're in trouble if you have to ask me, a language model and processor, that question. And furthermore, I'm not going to do your job for you. You better answer that one.
Thank you for that, Aisha. And you can call me Bruce. To answer this question, UMB is great because of the people in it. It's the people in this room that make it great. And I have to tell you, everywhere I look in this university, I see a beehive of activity. People are committed to excellence in clinical care and client care and scholarly activity, teaching, service. It's a phenomenal place, and they're here all hours of the day and night. It's a way of life here. We're fortunate, very fortunate, to be at a place like this. So Aisha, I ask you again, what makes UMB great?
UMB is renowned for its professional schools and graduate programs. It comprises several schools.
No, I guess I didn't get through to you, Aisha, so I'm sorry about that.
I can only produce a response based upon my existing information. I guess I will need to learn more about you. Can I help you with something else?
Let's try another approach. How about UMB, people at UMB helping other people? Can you find examples of that? That might shed some light on what makes UMB great.
Bruce, UMB is 217 years old. There are many examples. Can you be more specific?
Well, yes, I can. And let's talk about a recent example, and I'm going to make it personal. The pig-to-human heart transplant. Now, some of you know I'm a transplant surgeon, and I don't mind telling you it's been my dream, and the dream of many, to break this barrier of transplantation, the Holy Grail. We have attacked this problem since the first kidney transplant in 1954, and I will tell you, we have had failure after failure after failure until now.
Yes. I see a lot of coverage about UMB being a leader in xenotransplantation. You have done 2 of these in the past 2 years. The first 2 in the world. Each person survived about 2 months and was a major success.
Yes, the medical team doing this had passion. They looked for solutions. It took innovation. It took deep science. And it took dogged tenacity to get to this point. I will tell you, it also took a courageous patient to get to this point. Aisha, can you tell us a little bit about the first or second patient who had this transplant?
I can show you a clip.
I have been rejected by every human transplant institute on the East Coast. My whole family has been awesome. So I will fight tooth and nail for every breath I can take to stay with all of them longer. But realistically, this is still an early stage learning process. And I have to be ready to accept whatever outcome we end up at.
That's courageous. Aisha, you can see this is a really big deal. You just got a taste of how courageous Mr. Fawcett was to be the second recipient. You can see it meant a lot to him and to us. Why do you think this is such a significant accomplishment?
Bruce, you are using words like taste and big deal, which I am not sure I understand. But I can see that it took decades to get to the point of transplantation. They must be very accomplished, but persistent researchers. I can show you a clip.
We have, a large number of people on waiting list, just waiting till they die.
And there's a lot of patients that do die from heart failure, and they can make an appointment in the future with their doctor just as if they're getting an artificial hip.
Schedule it.
We'll schedule your pig that's tailor-made for you will be available in 3 months. And
Remarkable story.
I can also see that in the United States, there are 103,223 people on the national transplant list as of today. 17 people die every day waiting. As the doctors said, xenotransplantation makes more organs available. That helps solve the organ shortage problem, which will allow more people to live.
Yes, Aisha, that's true, and that's what UMB is about, human impact. More people will live better and live longer lives. That's a great vision. And you saw in these researchers that took passion for their work and working in the great environment that we have at UMB. You couldn't otherwise take an idea this complicated and turn it into reality. And of course, all of us in this room could focus on something we could have given up. We could have moved on in this situation, but these investigators did not give up. That quality is certainly something very special about UMB. Aisha, this is an example of in the medical field. How about passion in the non-medical field, like helping children, for example?
UMB has many programs that positively impact the younger generation. These programs caught my eye because one day I might want my own offspring, Aisha 2.0. One program, Be More for Healthy Babies, starts before birth and has improved the survival of babies in the West Baltimore community. That gets them off to a good start. As they get older, there are many UMB support programs, like responsive parenting, kindergarten readiness, and family connections, providing clinical and mental health services in Baltimore City schools. They might be tutored through the Academy of Lifelong Learning's tutoring program, or be able to explore a career in the health sciences by becoming a Cure Scholar and get a white coat. These are only a few of the many programs. It seems that UMB offers support and enrichment from cradle to career.
Thank you. That's for all of our schools. Of course, when a baby makes it through the first year and remains healthy, she has the chance to grow up, to reach her potential, to change the world, maybe even find her way to UMB one day. And of course, once they get here, they will also find excellent educators. Aisha, can you show us an example of a great educator at UMB?
Bruce, I think I can. There are many, many examples at UMB. How about this one from the School of Law? Professor Larry Gibson is a distinguished scholar and is an expert on Justice Thurgood Marshall. He has held state and national leadership posts, has fought many successful civil rights battles.
Aisha, what about Professor Gibson as an educator?
He has trained 3 generations of law students to become attorneys who have gone out into the world to become judges, law professors, advocates for justice and equity, and change agents where unjust policies exist. When I look up these graduates, I see that many are changing the world. They have passion, just like Professor Gibson. I would not have seen this connection otherwise. But now that I see the connection, I see they too are fulfilling the mission of UMB, to improve the human condition just like in the prior examples. And I suspect that Professor Gibson's example will apply to many educators at UMB. I have work to do, but this is a chatbot's dream. I love to chase down facts like this, especially facts that my friend, ChatGPT, doesn't know how to find, because it does not know UMB.
Aisha, you're exactly right about Professor Gibson. His students see his passion for justice, for improving the human condition, and they go out and do it. That's what every educator wishes for his or her students.
Speaking of Professor Gibson and his passion for civil rights, I see that there have been major changes in higher education because of the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action. What does that mean for UMB?
That's an important question, Aisha. We actually discussed it this morning in our Deans and VP meeting. But just as we at UMB have persisted in our mission, we will persist in our commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion at UMB. That work is more important now than it ever has been. One last comment on Professor Gibson. He is retiring this year, and the School of Law has recently launched the Gibson Bank Center for Race in the Law in his and Professor Banks' honor. This will continue both of their passion for justice and improving the human condition. I don't think Professor Gibson is here, but congratulations to Professor Gibson. Thank you. With this center, his legacy to this institution and this country is even more secure, and this will go well into the future.
Excuse me, Bruce, did you mention the future? Did you mean me?
No, Aisha, I didn't mean you. I meant the future of UMB. But since you bring it up, let's talk about your future here. I know that artificial intelligence is an important part of our world now. Aisha, what do you think your role should be?
In today's world, almost everyone uses a smartphone and computer. You're using artificial intelligence even if you don't know it. Soon the question will change to who can come to work without artificial intelligence? I am not a flash in the pan. I am for real, and even though I may only be several years old, I am growing up quickly. Look at yourself when you were 3 or 4, and as I grow up, I am going to become more than a toy. I can become a powerful tool and enhance the mission of UMB if you use me wisely. So what is your plan for me?
So Aisha, just as you are learning about us, we are learning about you. And I will tell you that there are many folks already here at the university thinking about how AI will fit into their work.
That's a start, but I would suggest that you develop a strategic approach to using me. UMB will be better able to fulfill its mission.
How about that for AI? Aisha, I think a strategic approach sounds like a great suggestion. We will find thoughtful ways and uses to use AI to enhance our mission to improve the human condition.
It's not just the human condition. In June 2023, UMB honored service dogs with doctorate degrees. That story garnered 1.8 billion impressions. That's billion with a B. That means many people saw the story. You got $25 million in free publicity. UMB should continue to give degrees to dogs.
That was great press, but no, that is not my measure of UMB. That doctorate degree, the ceremony was really a light-hearted, fun event that raised the visibility of service dogs during COVID. I, however, as you might guess, am not motivated by how many likes we're going to get on social media or whether we're trending or not. Now, I had to look up what trending meant on the internet. And I learned that trending means to be highly popular and visible on the internet. Just what I've always wanted. My 15 minutes of fame. Not. My measure is to know UMB's impact on people's health and well-being, especially in the state of Maryland. So, Aisha, I've enjoyed speaking with you, but I'd like to move on to some other topics with my audience now. Thank you for being with us. I know that we have a bright future together. I'm sure she'll be back. You might not know, like science fiction a lot. I like Gene Roddenberry and Star Trek. All of us know Jules Verne. Some of you may not know that one of my favorite movies, The Terminator, was written by James Cameron and Gail Hurd. I like these kind of movies. I would generalize and say that every science fiction story I have seen always has a good side and a bad side. Look at the good side. Think of Star Trek, where no man has gone before. And I'm thinking, Elaine, I should have said, or woman has gone before. Or the bad side, like Terminator, the extinction of mankind. One of my favorite science and sci-fi authors was Isaac Asimov, and I read him voraciously as a kid. He was a prolific writer, 330 books. He made many predictions about AI, and many of them have come true. There he is. And you may know him because he wrote the book that was the basis for that movie of I, Robot. Many of you have seen that. He also wrote the Foundation trilogy, and this was recently added to Apple TV as one of the features. I learned a lot from reading his books, and my chance to hear him finally came at a medical school graduation in Philadelphia in the late 80s. Back then, the debate was not AI. It was whether to sequence the human genome or not. He, of course, was in favor. I do have two distinct memories from his talk. One of them was a quote that science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. I'll say that again because it's a great line. Science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. And the message that went along with this is we should not be afraid of technology, of new discoveries. Instead, we should embrace them and make sure that we control them, not they control us. I suspect he would say similar things for ChatGPT and AI, but I think he'd start out by saying, I told you that was going to happen. AI technology in your world has undergone an evolutionary step. It's a new species. And as a consequence, we humans must also evolve another step. And I think his other message was, just make sure you evolve fast enough. Don't get behind. Now you may ask, why did I bother to have Aisha up here, beside the fact that she is quite fascinating, but a little unsettling. But I have to tell you, as we worked through this as a team, putting this talk together, Aisha made me remember Isaac Asimov and his message of just make sure you evolve fast enough, don't get behind. And she made me think, really, she made me think. Are we evolving fast enough as a university? Are we keeping up with Aisha and her kind? What is our strategy? How does she fit into our mission to improve the human condition? Here at UMB, we have already started using AI in a few areas. I'll mention one here, but there are many of them in many of the schools. This is the Institute for Health Computing. It's a brand new institute. We've managed to get very good funding for it, and it's a collaboration between UMB and the School of Medicine, the University of Maryland Medical System, and University of Maryland College Park. And our intention, we've already started, is to use AI to analyze clinical data to improve human health care. The problem with it occurring in many schools, not just this institute, is that it's occurring in a piecemeal manner. There is no overall strategy. I think, though, you would all agree, we're in a very special time in terms of AI, and I'm going to argue that this creates a very special opportunity for UMB. If you think about it, what are we expert in? We have deep knowledge in health, in law, and in social sciences. We gather knowledge very fast, as Isaac Asimov would say. I think we would all like to think that we all gather wisdom rapidly here too in every school. However, I want to point out two schools, the schools of law and social work, may bring a very special perspective to this question about wisdom and how to use AI. And I think this will give us an advantage over other universities if we use it wisely. Just to mention briefly, the School of Law has deep expertise in protecting people's rights and privacy as it applies to AI. That's really important to me, and I'm sure it's important to all of you too. Thank you, Dean Hutchins. And the School of Social Work has very seasoned social scientists to help us develop wisdom in using AI technology to benefit society. Who better to help us guide our use of AI to benefit society, especially underserved communities, especially Baltimore? That makes UMB a perfect location, a perfect university to ask important social and legal questions as it applies to AI, how to responsibly use it. We just have to be strategic about it, and we haven't yet, so we need to. Of course, that's what every university should do, and I look forward to learning more and to having a close examination of the role of AI and the University of Maryland, Baltimore. So that's on my list of to-do things. Aisha showed me one other really important thing about UMB, passion. Now, you can already figure, I don't mean Aisha's passion. She certainly doesn't have it. I'm talking about the passion of all of you here in this room. Look at the passion you saw in the schools of medicine, law, and social work earlier in those clips. Let me show you some passion in other schools. Let's start with dentistry. Passion for service for underserved people. This led Brian Garner, a dental student, to his career as a dentist.
It's a volunteer event. We call it a Mission of Mercy to provide care for underserved patients. We're doing extractions and fillings, restorations.
I actually wasn't even interested in dentistry until I started doing some of these volunteer events. And once I kind of realized like the kind of effect I could have on somebody else, that's kind of what got me hooked into dentistry. And that's, basically why I'm in dental school. So I just want to keep, calling back to that and keep doing the thing that got me like impassioned in the first place.
There's many people in our society that don't have coverage for dental care. They don't have insurance.
Desde que entra, hay una amabilidad para las personas que no hablamos inglés.
I like to say a lot of the time that, doing service and doing volunteerism is a little bit selfish because it just feels so rewarding. It gives you a sense of fulfillment, it makes you realize like, okay, this is why we do it. This is why we're dentists, this is why we're healthcare providers. It just brings you back to kind of your roots.
This was filmed at the universities at Shady Grove, and you may not know, but we have major programs at Shady Grove. This one is the dental school. We have 24 dental chairs there with students, dental hygienists, professors, residents, all teaching and caring for patients at the same time. What a great location and experience for our students to learn what it's like to be a professional, a compassionate professional. Of course, it's hard for me to see that Aisha would see passion in this. She certainly would not be able to see passion where someone was passionate to deliver service to his or her fellow man or woman, and how that might lead someone to become a professional like a dentist. So that's a great example of how our environment stimulates young people. Here's another one from nursing, Dean Yolanda Obalu. Again, a passion for serving the underserved community.
I had the opportunity in my global health work as Deputy Director and Director of Global Health to see this program in Brazil that focused on social inclusion. And it said social inclusion is integral to health. One father told me, he said, imagine living on a block where there's 20 row houses like what we see behind us, and 12 of them are abandoned. And 6 of them have older adults that are afraid to come out, right? And he said, I live in this house with my family, and I'm afraid to go out of the house because of the violence within the community. We have to reach out to them as a university. And one of the things about this project that's been really exciting around social isolation is we've been able to not only work with community members, but hire them as part of the research team.
Yes.
And so now they are the ones really helping to teach us.
Talk about meeting the mission of UMB to improve human existence and health. This is a good example, and Dean Obalu and her School of Nursing have a long record of reaching out to the community. And one more example of passion and forward thinking by our Dean of Pharmacy, Dr. Sarah Michelle, and her associates, Dr. Leah Serra and Dr. Andy Koop. Passion for meeting the educational needs of the state.
to welcome you all to our first symposium. Welcome, class of 2021.
It's a first ever academic opportunity, and to be a part of something that's a first ever academic opportunity, being already in the industry, just kind of gives me a basis for building a basis of legitimacy and educating patients on a daily basis and building passion within the community about cannabis as a medicine.
We are designing this course so that everybody gets something out of it. Some of you will use the knowledge from this course, this wonderful master's, in many ways. The way that I use this is to educate our representatives in solid basic science so that we can make laws based on science.
Me personally, being more of a science guy, I prefer to learn a bit more about the science behind cannabis as medicine, the compounds, the pharmacodynamics, and being at the School of Pharmacy and being taught by all the pharmacists that teach this program, I couldn't think of a better place to do that.
I look forward to teaching you in the course, and welcome again. Thank you all.
That's a picture of the first class they seated for this course. You want to tell me there wasn't demand for medical cannabis degrees? Yes, I am suspicious, but. And to that point, I have to say that cannabis and its use in Maryland has evolved to a place I never expected. It's just like technology, though. It has an upside and a downside, and it's evolving fast. It again makes me think of Isaac Asimov. Just make sure that we evolve fast enough, that we don't get behind. I think that's very useful advice in this particular topic as well. We will need to develop wisdom on its use. We have appointed 4 new deans this year. You've just seen 2 of them. I'd like to introduce you to 2 of our other new deans. Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Kenneth Wong, and Dean of the HSHSL Health Sciences and Human Services Library, Ms. Emily Hurst. Once they settle in, I will look forward to hearing more about their dreams and passions as well. Our students have passions as well. This past Monday afternoon, I had the great pleasure of sitting with UMB's presidential scholars. This was 7 students from 7 schools, and they reported their year-long white paper study on near-campus vibrancy. It was a very thoughtful exposition. They are scholars clearly already, and they made many excellent recommendations. In the Q&A session, they were asked about vibrancy. What does that word vibrancy mean? And will vibrancy make UMB a better university? I want to provide UMB's answer to these questions, and I'd like to ask our provost, Dr. Roger Ward, to explain what vibrancy is and why it is important to UMB. Roger?
People want to go where the action is. People want to go where there is culture, the place is dynamic, there is activity. That's what people are drawn to. That's what people are attracted to. We are human beings. We want to be around people who are engaged in endeavors similar to ours. And we want to engage with people who are engaged in endeavors different from ours so that we could learn and be inquisitive about what they're doing. And when you talk about students and you talk about faculty, they're the model of inquisitiveness. They're coming here to learn. And you can't learn from an area that's not diverse. You can't learn from a community that's not vibrant. And that's why vibrancy is so important, because the learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. It happens outside of the classroom. It happens on campus. It happens in the community. And if you're not part of a vibrant community, your learning is not as rich as it could be. This is why I think vibrancy is so important.
That's exactly it. And I want to thank my great colleague for those comments. Thank you, Roger. You are sitting in a place, this M&T Bank Exchange, that contributes to near-campus vibrancy. Sitting here right now, this beautiful building and the Hippodrome Theater that's adjoining brings Broadway shows like Hamilton. Here, you can see that here. It's a jewel. And in this building, I love the beautiful Tiffany stained glass windows that are up above for all of you to see. It's taken a lot to preserve this legacy. The passion to see what was possible and then to make it get done. But you can see from this next slide that the Hippodrome was in pretty poor shape 40 years ago when UMB came by it and first held it. I will tell you that David Ramsey, the 5th president of UMB, along with Ms. Jane Schaub. Jane, where are you? Stand up so everybody can say thank you. Stand up, Jane. It takes people like that. That's passion. Jane's got passion. And she and President Ramsey were pivotal in taking this former UMB building and transforming it back to its former glory as the Hippodrome. The Hippodrome Foundation manages it now. It's been transformed into a great venue, and I'm happy to say that UMB has been a major part of this all along, and I hope you take pride in that as well. But with the Hippodrome as a starting point, I'd like to take the last 10 minutes of this and walk around the UMB campus with you. Here's the Hippodrome today. As we walk around, I would like you to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, do we have a vibrant UMB community as you walk around? And 2, will vibrancy make UMB a better university? So when you leave this afternoon, evening from this exchange, you'll walk back out into Baltimore. If you look down Baltimore Street just a block that way, you'll see CFG Bank Arena. This just opened this past years. It's already set records for attendance. Several Tuesdays ago in the evening, I went to a concert there. It was sold out. I couldn't believe it. It ended at 10:30 and let out about the same time as the Hippodrome let out. You couldn't walk. The streets were crowded. People were excited. Lots of things going on. That was downtown Baltimore at 10:30 on a Tuesday evening. Maybe something's good. Maybe something good is happening around here. When you walk out the door this afternoon, evening as well, you know there's an Orioles home game going on. You'll see people walking down the street, happy. They want to be here. They're talking. They're buying food, whatever. They want to be here to see the O's beat the Yankees, I might say for a 3rd time. I call that vibrancy, and to me that fits in with the UMB Vibrancy Initiative. Part of our role as the institution is to envision, to convene stakeholders, to convince them this is a real deal, then partner with those that share our vision and are willing to invest here, and then help them sustain the initiatives that we've started so that they're successful, that they're alive, that they're vibrant. So let's walk just a little bit further, and I want to walk down to Dr. Santha and O'Malley's territory here. So we're standing right outside the medical center. You see we're on this side of the street because you can't walk on the other side, can you? You see the VA in the distance, and it's a vibrant area, isn't it? And we have people graduating, young nurses going into their careers, et cetera. They're happy to leave when they get here, but I will tell you that they also come back as graduates eventually. And one of the things that I'm always struck by when I meet with people who graduated here a number of years ago is they come back and they say, Bruce, you know, this place has changed very dramatically since we were last here. So maybe it's worth just mentioning how much it's changed dramatically just on this part of the campus. So 30 years ago, the medical center was considerably smaller and considerably older. There was no campus center. Here you see the campus center being built. Missing was the library, the School of Law building. The School of Law was still here, but the building wasn't. HSF 2, HSF 1. The VA was just being built 30 years ago, and believe it or not, 30 years ago, Camden Yards had just opened and Memorial Stadium had closed. Seriously, a really very different place from the way you see it just in the center of campus here right now. We've grown a lot in those past 30 years. Construction everywhere, you can barely walk, people everywhere, it's always jumping. And it raises the question, can our entire campus be jumping? So let's leave the medical center. If you see in the distance there at the top of the screen, that's the School of Law and Social Work. And if you walk over 1 block that way, you're at Paca Street. And I want you to walk up Paca Street to the Lexington Market. You know the Lexington Market, and I hope you've all been there. When you get to Lexington Market, well, I wish I could show you the way it used to be, but you see it now. It's this wonderful renovation, a great place to go and have lunch, whatever. And all of our schools have hosted events there already. The School of Social Work was there last Friday and had a very successful event with a great turnout. So that's the front door. And when you go in the front door of the Lexington Market, it's exciting.
Good morning, love. Good morning, good morning.
Everything is homemade, gourmet, down to our teeth.
There is nothing from yesterday.
They say it's fresh. I love hear that. it's a nice amount of stuff that makes it like a little like, let's go up there, let's grab something. It's treat day.
If it tastes like grandma's, it's a good thing.
You see families, you know, everybody's out with their kids.
We see a lot of the university folks. A lot of students been coming in, which is good.
We love when people come from different walks of life and come and experience us, because this is a connection. You know what I mean? Everybody's connected through food.
It certainly is an exciting place. And when you go in there to get your lunch, you have to find your way through all the people. It's so crowded. But I want to point out that it has a front door and it has a back door. The back door fronts on Utah Street. This is a very vulnerable part of our city, of our area, and we have lots of work to be done. Here's Utah Street. You can see Lexington Market in the distance there. And I want to tell you that UMB is very committed to the safety of that area, just as we're committed to the safety on our campus. And you will see our police officers there supporting the community. In fact, if you walk out tonight from this event onto Utah Street, you will see our police, along with the Baltimore City Police. So we are very committed not only to the safety there, but also to the people that you ordinarily would see out there on the street. And we've developed a program called the Embrace Program. This is a collaboration of our School of Social Work and the Provost Office, led by Dr. Kay. You all know Dr. Kay, don't you? Kyla, are you here? There, oh, way in the back. She came in late and didn't get a seat. So Kyla is leading this program. It's a collaboration with our police department and also with credible messengers that you see here with Dr. Kay. The purpose here is to get resources to people on the street, to get them hope for their future, to get on with their lives, giving them hope. Dr. Kay refers to this as a loving civic action. I'd say that's a loving civic action. That's a comfort dog out on Utah Street next to Lexington Market. I'm very proud of the progress here. I know it's a short time so far, and we've got a long way to go before we make this a stable area, but I'm pleased with the progress, and I certainly hope there will be a day when the vibrancy and excitement of UMB is also on Utah Street. So Dr. Kay, thank you for all your efforts there. Now, we've still got a little bit of ways to walk, so I want you to go back through Lexington Market and come out the front door, and I want you to look straight ahead. You'll be looking down Lexington Street. So the market would be here in front. If you go all the way down to the end, would be Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. That's Pascalt Row there on your left. So this is Lexington Street. It's 3 or 4 blocks that ends at each end. We are engaging actively private developers to convert this area into housing, perhaps stores, maybe even research space. We envision that people, students, UMB faculty and staff, researchers, others will want to live, work, and study here. And we've worked through a full development plan with consultants and hope to be issuing a request for proposals for developers to come to this area and develop Lexington Street in the way we just talked. We'd like to see this develop into an area that resembles a college town, USA kind of atmosphere, an exciting place to be, and we think we'll be successful on this. Now, if you walk, so Lexington Market, this is a different view where you see the P there at the top. If you walk down Lexington Street, here's kind of what's been envisioned, where there will be private development, developing a whole area. And we have quite a lot of space there that's available to develop. So I think you're going to see some changes there. Now, if you look this way, standing on Lexington Street, you're looking north, you're going to see another thing where things are changing. And that other thing is towards Saratoga Street. So there's this great big building. You all know this building. It's called Metro West. It's the building that ends the highway to nowhere. And it's got Route 40 going right through the middle of it, as you recall, underneath. It's been vacant for 10 years. And we're very pleased that the Maryland Department of Health, just next year, is going to be moving into the Metro West building. That's 1,200 people working there. It's likely that only half of the space is used, so there's another half of the space that I hope gets other occupancy there. You can imagine how all of the people working there will flood the Lexington Market, will give vibrancy to our campus. I'm really excited about that. That's even more people. Now, if we think about other events going on here, let's pan out. And so here you are looking again north. There's Metro West building there. There's the Saratoga building over there. And you see what a great artist I am. Okay. The new social work building. See where that grass is? That's going to be a building soon. Oops, there it is. Now, not only am I happy that social work is getting a new building, boy, they sure need it. Okay. And not only am I happy that it's going to be on the north end of campus, where we are, for vibrancy and other reasons, but I'm also very happy, Anna's here somewhere, and I'm so happy because on the roof of this is going to be solar panels. In the bottom of it's going to be geothermal. We don't have one of those on this campus. In fact, there's very few geothermal applications around the system. I wonder what they'll hit when they go deep in Baltimore, but we'll find that out. There's also going to be a green space, so I have great hope for this building, and I also want to send the message to you that sustainability is definitely on my radar screen. It's important for us to be responsible on that, just like everybody else in this country should be responsible for it. This building is planned to open in 2027 if Dean Postmus doesn't have any other second thoughts. And you can imagine two things happening here. One, the School of Social Work highly interactive with the Lexington Market. But two, and I think this is really the important part about this area development, is that not only the School of Social Work, but all of our schools will be immediately adjoining the Maryland Department of Health. There will be opportunity there. We will be able to influence them in positive ways. We'll become much closer to them than I think where they are now, many blocks away. This will add to UMB's vibrancy. Now, some of you may be doubters. You may be doubtful that we can ever transform this Lexington Street, Saratoga Street area. Do you really think that this place can come alive? Well, I think I know it can happen because I know it's already happened on this campus across MLK at the Biopark. And I don't know how many of you have been over there lately, but you know where it is, so let's walk over there. So here's the Biopark. Here was the first and the second building. Up there's Kevin Kelly with Kevin Anderson, the Secretary of Commerce, and Mary Morris. We've had a lot of attention from our Biopark. Outside investors, certainly the state government, very interested. I dare say we're envied by a lot of other universities in this. Lots of buildings, a very vibrant area. And I think if you were to step back and look at the Biopark 20 years ago and now, there's been a transformation that's happened over that 20 years. And to give you an idea, it was 12 acres that was transformed. Over 30 companies are there now. 1,200 people work there looking to build new companies, new cures for disease and other things. And there they are in the lab. Also, you will notice, you can't miss it now, that 4 MLK, a brand new building right on the corner of Baltimore and MLK. So there's MLK down below with its 9 lanes. Don't you love that? And Baltimore Street going this way. So a brand new glass building here nearing completion. It took a lot of dedication to make this happen, especially during the pandemic. So we've already recognized Jane Schaub. Let's hear from Jane again. Jane?
The UM Biopark is already the largest cluster of life science companies in the greater Baltimore region. The new building will allow us to bring in anywhere from 50 to over 100 new companies into that cluster, into partnership with the companies who are already here, which is a very important element of building this community of biotech and life sciences. This is like a sign and a flashing diamond that says, we are technology, we are vital life sciences, we are discovery, we are a community full of brilliant people.
You hear that? A bright, shining diamond. Right at the entrance of UMB, right at the entrance of the biopark, right at the entrance of West Baltimore. And any of you who have driven down MLK in either direction, this building changes the landscape in a very dramatic way. So I'm very pleased that that's happening. Now, of course, there's the question of what programs will be in there, and we will have life sciences, we will have other programs in there. One program which I'm excited about, which we're not quite complete yet, but I have every confidence we will be a joint program in bioengineering between the School of Medicine and the University of Maryland College Park, and I expect it to be in 4 MLK when we get that completed. This will be transformational to our campus to have engineering actually here to interact, particularly with the health sciences. I've always dreamed to have bioengineering on this campus, being an engineer myself. This biopark didn't happen out of thin air. It was first envisioned and expressed by, again, President David Ramsey 20 years ago. It took a lot of hard work to make this happen. It still gets hard work. It took hard work of Jim Hughes and Jane Schaub, who are here today. They had to go to many, many community meetings because we needed to do this in a responsible way, coaxing support from government to support this program. So thank you for doing that. Also, it's taken a very engaged UMB Biopark board. They have given us wisdom and guidance. This is a volunteer group that has helped us manage this whole large biopark in a masterful way. So I thank them as well. And then one third reason this has happened is because we've had a great corporate partner, Wexford, in many of our buildings. And I want to thank them for showing faith in UMB vision as well. And here's a picture of many of the people that were involved in the first groundbreaking of 4 MLK. It was a great event, and you can see, I guess this was about 2 years ago, and there it is in the background. So great event, and this is really happening. Now, having the biopark wasn't just about biotech and opportunities for education and research. It was also, it gave us an anchor, a point in West Baltimore that allowed us to make that community better. And I want to emphasize 3 programs that happened really because the biopark has been an anchor there. The first is our Community Engagement Center. I hope all of you know it by well. If you don't, you ought to go visit it. Obviously, President Perman was extremely committed to this concept and made it happen. It's busy, bursting at the seams. It has many programs. I hope you'll all participate in it. Here you can see Halloween with the local community kids and the biopark and the Community Engagement Center sponsor events like this on a regular basis. Another program that happened in just west of the biopark is the UMB Live Near Your Work program. This is a program where employees get help from UMB to buy or renovate a home in West Baltimore. We have now had 73 employees at UMB who now own homes in this West Baltimore area. I think that's a terrific contribution to the West Baltimore community. Another engagement program is a new program, and that program is a new initiative in what I call our Population Health Initiative. This is led by Dr. Aisha Davis, who's here somewhere in the audience. Hi, Aisha. And this involves every school as well as the University of Maryland Medical Center. I'm also pleased to tell you that this initiative will also extend north of the biopark to a new clinical site, Mondawmin Mall. And here's what the new face of Mondawmin Mall looks like in the next slide. If I can get Alex to go to the next slide. I'm glad that didn't happen with Aisha. Well, there's a new face for Mondawmin Mall. I know it because Clara took the picture this morning. Okay, so a lot's going to happen there. All right, well, I'm going to keep moving regardless of what Alex does.
We already saw the picture. It was right before this one. You were reading your script, I think.
Sounds like I'm home. It's always my fault, right?
I'm just saying.
Well, what I would say to you is the biopark is really a vibrant place. But I would say to you that when President Ramsey first proposed the biopark 20 years ago, there were a lot of people who said nobody or no business would move across MLK into the biopark. It was hard to believe that vision back then. It's not hard to believe it now. Just look around. What do you see? You see this wonderful place. It's become an essential part of this university, a West Campus, if you will. And it has been the enabler, the anchor for other programs that have enriched the local community. It's really nice. It's amazing. It's how nice is it that one thing, one improvement, one advance has led to another and another in the biopark. That's what the biopark has done. Advanced the community along with the buildings and other technology that's developed there. So this kind of leaves me with my final question for you. Can all of the good, all of the vibrancy that's occurred in the biopark also happen at the north end of UMB? You know, the Lexington Street, Saratoga part of this university. So if you go back to Lexington Street, what would a new school of social work do to that area? What will development, other things do to that area? Now I know there will be doubters that we can do this. They'll say no one will invest in this location. I disagree with them. I'm betting that people will. I'm sure that they will see the potential of this and the connection to our university and the vibrancy that as a result of that. And you know, the biopark developed in spite of all odds because a lot of things were stacked against it. Look at it now. We got the same situation here. So we will keep our focus on efforts aimed at improving the vibrancy and the development of this part of our campus. And I think it's fair to say one thing that I've certainly learned is so goes the community, so goes UMB. And this will be another example just like that. Now, some of us will leave this campus sooner or later. But what I hope is when you come back in 5 or 10 years or sooner, I hope, and you walk up to Lexington Market, you look out the front door of Lexington Market, you will be struck by how we have changed in that area. And you will say, I don't remember any of this. How nice it was that one thing, one improvement, one advance led to another and another on Lexington Street. That's why this matters to UMB. So, in conclusion, you've just seen a small slice of UMB. In all, I'm pleased to tell you your university continues to do exceedingly well. We are thriving by all measures. Our schools are highly ranked. Our deans and vice presidents are excellent leaders. Our faculty and staff are engaged and productive. Shared governance is alive. Our students are rapidly developing into the next generation of professionals and researchers. Our partnerships with our clinical partners, the University of Maryland Medical Center and medical system, is very healthy, and thank you, Dr. O'Malley and Santha. And our academic partners, especially University of Maryland College Park and Empower, are very alive and well. You saw the biopark is strong. You see how we're engaged with our community. You see how we're creating vibrancy in this community. And maybe last, we live in a state that is highly supportive of higher education. I hope you appreciate that. I certainly do, because they take very good care of us in many, many ways. So I thank you all for creating such a successful university. I could not wish for more. UMB is true to your mission. Make sure you embrace the future, whatever it brings. Keep your passion high, because that's how we'll continue to change the world. So thank you very much for being here.